Hello, everybody, and welcome to the September 29th episode of Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
And we'll have two segments to bring you this week, 3 races in each segment, lots of action. So let's get started here with our first race on the show, and this will be race number 4 from Wednesday. We're taking a look at Lucky Leslie and Kitty Cat Rockstar, the 1 on the 5. This is a maiden claimer for 2-year-olds.
Yeah, this may not have been the strongest field that we'll be running in this level, but you'll be seeing this race where Lucky Leslie is one of the pace horses in here. And the second place finisher is Kitty Cat Rockstar. Both Eric and I were talking about the races to talk about for doing the show, and both of us thought that this was an interesting horse to show because it was one of those situations where we found it to be a curious decision was made by the rider, Javier Castellano. We're not trying to be hard on him. Obviously, he's about as good a rider as is in the country, having a great year. But I do think that a lot of times rides come down to split-second decisions. This is one where afterwards, Javier probably thought to himself, if I had that one to do over again, I think I could have won this race.
I'm sure he'd said that to himself. And right here, he's worked out a pretty good trip. The pace up front is fast. He's, in a good stalking, tracking position, saving some ground around the turn. But, as we come past the 5/16 pole here and toward the top of the stretch, Castellano will be forced to make a decision here. He's out and about the 3 path right now. Do you want to try to go outside horses in here, or do you want to see if something opens up toward the inside? I think right here is where he had to make that decision, and he probably just waited a little bit too long to make it, then got forced to go one way.
Yeah, well, the horse inside of him goes through the rail and squeezes through there with Ramon Dominguez as the heavy favorite and eventual winner, Lady Maureen. And ultimately, he's sort of right. He half goes outside. It closes on him, whereas he probably could have gotten clear on the turn. Now he's forced to follow Lady Maureen, which isn't that bad a move because she wins. The problem is she doesn't exactly blow through the hole, and by the time she gets clear and Kitty Cat Rockstar can get clear, there's just not enough time left.
Right, she gets to the outside here with only about 30, 40 yards to go and still, finishes up real nice there, loses only by a half length. And, I thought Kitty Cat Rockstar obviously could have won the race had she been outside through the stretch run. The question with her moving forward is how much do you want her? She was 25-1 in this race. She's going to be a much shorter price next time out. I also think the one Lucky Leslie, who survived, a pace battle there to put away the other pace setter who was one of the favorites in the race, ran very well. I might be looking for her next time out as well.
Well, if you want horses out of the race, Lucky Leslie is a horse you could want out of this race. The problem is this race didn't come up very strong. Now, we don't know who they're going to meet next time out. I don't disagree with you that Lucky Leslie ran a very improved race and ran okay for the horses in this race. It just depends where she shows up. And you're right about Kitty Cat Rockstar. She may win last time, but at 25-1 as a first-time starter, this was the day.
All right, our second race on the show will go 6 furlongs on the inner turf, and this is race number 8, also from Wednesday. Dubai Rainbow, the 2, Mitigation, the 3, the 2 horses we're interested in here.
This was classic race that just absolutely collapses. And it's weird with Dubai Rainbow, as you see, breaking a little bit behind, actually, Mitigation. And Dubai Rainbow, who was coming out of a route race, I didn't think figured to be one of the speeds here, ends up sort of going along a little slowly from the inside, and it just sort of developed that way. Just Ben, who got left, rushed up on the inside. They ended up dueling, and the race absolutely collapsed.
The thing that's kind of surprised me with Dubai Rainbow here is the race 2 back in the turf sprint, the first time out for Kieran McLaughlin, was that Dubai Rainbow ran so well from off the pace against horses like Stradivensky and Yield Bogey. On the pace here with the fast early fractions here, going to set up for some horses to come from off it. And also take a look at the 3, Mitigation, who to this point is working out a pretty nice trip.
Yeah, Mitigation, you want to argue maybe it was a little close, but I thought it had a very good trip. We'll have trouble in the stretch. I don't like Mitigation going forward. I would love for Dubai Rainbow to get into another turf sprint and draw a post where he can rate with some other speed in there, because I think he's a much better horse than he showed in this race and was very much compromised by dynamics.
Yeah, I agree 100% here, and we'll take a look and see. There's Mitigation kind of in between horses there. Kind of going to get trapped in between. We'll take a look at the head on. It seemed like there was a little bit of room there for him to go through, but the hole closed up tightly, and we see Dubai Rainbow still trying to fight out, but the eventual winner, Karakoram Electra, from far back here just to prove how the race collapses.
Right, except Affirmative blows through the hole that Mitigation didn't really want to go through. Maybe it closed up, and maybe also a combination of Mitigation not wanting to go through, and we'll see it here. For my money, Mitigation, even with the trouble, was sort of running at the end when everybody was collapsing. I'm not a fan going forward.
That's a very fair point. I don't know. I thought this horse might have outrun his odds a little bit. Right in there, it seemed like there was a time where the rider could have punched him through and just didn't go through there, and waits to get to the outside until there's some run here for Mitigation. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty good effort for a horse that went off a big price and probably goes off a fair enough price again. Next time, you have to ask yourself what the pace scenario is going to be like, though.
Yeah, I can't see Mitigation getting a better setup in there, even though he had the brief trouble, didn't want to go through the hole. The horse I'm interested in is Dubai Rainbow. If he gets in the right spot, I'm I'm convinced he has some ability, and because of dynamics, didn't get to show it in this race.
One more race to bring you in this first segment. We'll take a look at the 5th race from September 23rd, a maiden claimer going 7 furlongs on the turf for 2-year-olds. A few horses we're interested in here: the 1 Financier, the 8 Summer and Giza, and the 10 Isn't He Perfect?
Well, Financier has some early trouble in this race, but Financier is also helped by the way the race was run, and the way the race was run worked very, very much against the 8 Summer and Giza, who absolutely should have won the race. And even the 10 Isn't He Perfect, who was a long shot, almost 50-1. Both of these horses showed extreme speed here, and because Summer and Giza sort of forced it from the inside, didn't let the 10 go, I'm not sure the finish of this race couldn't have been 8-10 if Edgar Prado had just relaxed the 8 Summer and Giza a little bit here and let Isn't He Perfect go. It would have been such a different scenario, and the perfect trip winner and second place finisher, I don't know if they get there.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the key points of this race, too, is that both these horses on the front end that we're looking at, Isn't He Perfect and Summer and Giza, both making their first starts on the turf. So this was kind of a little bit of a new experience for both these horses, and I thought they ran just outstandingly well. And they'll hook up here, go head-to-head around the turn through a fast pace, 22-4, 45-3. Pretty good fractions for 2-year-old maiden claimers, I think, and just going to set it up for the horses to come from off.
There was a decisive point about an eighth of a mile ago from where we are right now, where Edgar Prado decided to send Summer and Giza up inside the other horse, and that's when he sort of sacrificed all chance he had. I know they look like they're running well here, but they're just going too fast, and the eventual winner is getting that perfect trip, sitting third behind them and doing no real work. Now, Financier picks the piece in the end, and of the closers may well have run the best race, but they all benefited from this crazy pace duel these two set. These are not exactly world beaters, and this was a very fast pace.
I agree. I think Financier would be the shortest price of this bunch moving forward, but you have to ask yourself about the pace, how well his late run was set up by the pace, and you see the two horses that we were talking about up on the front not really collapsing. They stayed on pretty well in the spot.
No, they didn't collapse at all. And Summer and Giza was 11-1, should have won here. You're not going to get that kind of price next time. But the connections with Isn't He Perfect, I think you're still going to get a decent enough price. And don't throw that horse out. Both of these horses ran well. Anyway, that does it for this week's Trips, or this episode of Trips and Traps. We love hearing your thoughts, trips, and traps at NYRAinc.com. Thanks for watching.
And come on back for the second segment.